Former Buccaneers head coach and current Tampa Bay resident Tony Dungy said over the weekend that Bucs fans' expectations are similar to Patriots fans' expectations from recent years. Dungy also added that Bucs fans are now asking who they will be facing in the Super Bowl. So, Shannon, in your opinion, can Tom Brady live up to these expectations, these runaway expectations?
No, because in order for him to live up to those expectations, they need to be undefeated, get to the Super Bowl, win it with a perfect 19-0 record. Tom Brady needs to be the unanimous MVP, throw for 65 touchdowns, and then he can live up to those expectations. But this is nothing new to me, Skip, because if you notice, these delusional Cowboy fans say this every year. We're going to the Super Bowl. I wonder who the Cowboys going to play in the Super Bowl. Nobody, because y'all won't be there. The Packers, you don't think, hold on. Kansas City. What do you think the fans in Kansas City expectation is? They got my homeboy, the best player in the league, and they bring back about 95% of their starting roster back. What are their expectations? Granted, I understand that this is newfound expectations for the Bucs. But, Skip, the problem that I have is that people do not understand. It takes time. Now, we don't know when the season, because we're probably going to have a shortened offseason, might have a shortened preseason, and then they're going to kick this thing off. Skip. And BA's offense, Bruce Arians, the head coach, his offense is designed to push the ball down the field. In order to push the ball down the field, you have to hold on to the ball. When you hold on to the ball, it gives the defenders an extra opportunity to get closer to you and put you on the ground. Tom understands that. We started to see things last year. When they started to dial up the pressure, Tom had one of the worst completion percentage. He started to flinch. We saw that, Skip. That is unrefutable. And defensively, I know they were number one in the rush, but they were 30th against the pass. And it seems like the secondary is their weak link. So when you're 30th against the pass and you have a guy that led the league in sacks, what's going on, Skip? So the expectations, I believe, for the Bucs are unrealistic. I get that you have Tom Brady, but she's a 43-year-old Tom Brady, and he's not used to taking this kind of punishment. In this offense, he's more susceptible to getting hurt because of holding on to the ball for extended periods of time.
So I loved how you initially tried to make this about the Cowboys and the Packers and the Chiefs, when we are talking about a team that just 3 weeks ago was the Buccaneers. Just 3 weeks ago, this was the most woeful franchise in all of sports, with an overall career winning percentage of .387, worse than any franchise in any sport. And now, all of a sudden, Tampa fans are harking back to the glory days, or I should say sort of day, because it was singular, of the Super Bowl that came after the 2002 season. That's a long time ago, but that's the last the last period that they wore these uniforms. They have just revived and sort of updated. And that was all planned before they were able to land the great Tom Brady. So all of a sudden, it seems fortuitous. It seems meant to be that, oh, we're going back to the Super Bowl era uniforms. And all of a sudden, Tom Brady picked us. He picked the Buccaneers. Well, what would you think? Because Tom Brady, we all know, does his homework. He studies the way very few people have ever studied the game of football, this side of Peyton Manning. And he knew full well when he chose the Buccaneers and shocked the NFL world that this year they are going to have the Super Bowl in their home stadium. No home team has ever played in a home Super Bowl. And you know it, that deep down, the GOAT is saying, I got a shot here to take a team from 7-9 to play in a home Super Bowl. How great would that be? Well, that would be the ultimate watch this to Bill Belichick. And you know and I know Tom Brady is going to be all-time driven to show Belichick how wrong he was, to completely and consistently disrespect Tom Brady over the last 3 years that he was a New England Patriot. So, yes, these are runaway expectations, but this is exactly what Tom Brady wants. He's trying to fuel the expectations. He's the one who's trademarking everything that's TB times TB. Anything with Tom Brady, Tampa Bay in it, he's trademarking. He finally did the show that he loves the most, the Howard Stern show, last Wednesday. And then he's moved into the great Derek Jeter's Ocean View mansion in Tampa. So it feels like a harmonic convergence of everything is right on time coming together. And Tom loves it because what's his number one goal is to recreate a Patriots-like winning culture in Tampa. And to do so, you need a groundswell of support from the community, and you need every player in that locker room to start thinking, gee, now we're going to walk on the field thinking we can win every game, when obviously last year at 7-9 and the previous, say, 15 years, the Bucs walked on the field half thinking that they were going to lose this game, or at least that they could or should lose this game. So Brady will be on fire with the momentum of this because, as we know, he didn't ask for more money. He didn't ask for more control. He just asked for the phone numbers of his offensive teammates so that he could at least FaceTime with them during our quarantine to get to know them and what they love the most, what routes they love, what they're off the field, what they're all about. So he is already starting to recreate a culture. And I loved what Tony Dungy said, because this feeds into the new culture. It's a winning culture because it's all a mindset. You know this from your two Broncos Super Bowl teams and your Ravens Super Bowl team. When you walked on the field, you thought you were going to win the game. And Brady's trying to teach a whole new community and locker room how to feel walking onto the field like this is going to be our game. I love this, and I think Tom will feed off the frenzy of this.
Well, Skip, I think the thing is for me is that when I had John and I had him under center from 90 to 98, there's something to be said. See, even when I had the Ravens defense, and I believe that's the greatest defense of all time, historically great defenses, it still was predicated on what? If our quarterback does not turn the football over. When you have that guy under center, there's something different about you. You expect to win. You know we might not play our best, but we're still capable of winning this game because we have that guy. That's how it is in Tampa. But Skip, this notion that Tom Brady said, you know what? The Super Bowl's in Tampa Bay. Let me go to Tampa Bay. Tom Brady knew full well of the teams that were interested in him. Tampa had the best supporting offensive staff. Yeah, Kansas City might be better, but there is no place for him to go in Kansas City. Say the Saints, their comp, nowhere to go. Seattle with Metcalf and the Lockett and those, nowhere to go. This was the best situation. Tom Brady is full aware of his legacy. Tom Brady was well aware of what this means. I've got to go somewhere that has weapons offensively so I can still showcase what I can do. Skip, he wasn't going anywhere. He wasn't going to Cincinnati. He wasn't going to the Bears. He wasn't going to some team that we don't have offensive firepower. Tom Brady, the Super Bowl could have been played on the moon. And I still believe Tom Brady was going to end up in Tampa Bay because they presented him the best chance for him to show he still can play at an elite level. It had nothing to do with the Super Bowl was going to be played. It had everything to do with the supporting cast on that side of the football. So this notion that Tom Brady wants to go, he wants to be the first to play the Super Bowl in his backyard, no. Tom Brady wants to show that he still can play at an elite level, and Godwin and Mike Evans and Brake and O.J. Howard presents him with that best chance. Cincinnati was in line for a quarterback. I think Cincinnati was saying, okay, we get Tom Brady, we'll trade you a Miami 3 first-round pick to get Joe Burrow. But he wanted no part of that. So stop this notion, Skip Bayless. Tom Brady was full aware of what's going on.
So, Shannon Sharpe, we probably talked for 3 months about all the possibilities that Brady could take advantage of in the NFL other than the New England opportunity, if in fact there was going to be one. We talked about all the possible destinations. And I don't think we ever even brought up the possibility of Tampa. Maybe you did, but I don't remember you bringing up Tampa, right?
No.
So did this not come out of the blue? Did you think it was a slam dunk for Tom to go to Tampa because you never said that before he suddenly shocked the world by going there?
No, Skip, for me, I said the biggest thing for Tom, what's most important to him is not location, it's his ability to win right now. For me, Indy, because of the offensive line, they have a sound running game. They got T.Y. Hilton. They got Jack Doyle. They have pieces in place that, they just traded for Buckner. And so they still have cap space. They can go into the draft. They can draft a receiver if that's what they want, if that's the direction they wanted to go. So I thought the best situation was probably Indy. My whole thing was, Skip, it's about winning. It's not about being comfortable. It's not about, the school system isn't very good. Tom Brady understands he needs to win in order to make this thing right. In order for him to be right, he has to win. It's not about playing, he wants to play till he's 48. That's fine, well and good. The longer you play and the less you win, the greater Bill Belichick's legacy gets enhanced. Because you see, he had 3, 4, 5 years without Coach Belichick, and he couldn't get it done. So in the process of him thinking that he can play till he's 48, all he does is increase Coach Belichick. Well, Coach Belichick was right, because you see, he hasn't been back. Tom needed to win. And looking at these weapons around him, Skip, they present him a favorable opportunity. Not to say they're going to, but they present him probably the most favorable of all the situations. Skip, we just couldn't wrap our mind. Tampa, he ain't going to Tampa. But when you look at it, Skip, if you and I would have just sat down and we went through skill position by skill position, we probably, it would have ended up coming to, yeah, that makes the most sense, because you look at 2 Pro Bowl receivers, 2 tight ends that's probably on the cusp of going to the Pro Bowl. Yeah, this is an ideal landing spot. Now, the defense, still, Skip, I still believe a lot to be desired, because the secondary isn't very good. But from Tom Brady's point of view, Tom just has to worry about the offensive side. He's going to let Todd Bowles handle the defensive side. But if he goes out there and this offense can gel the way the fans in Tampa think it can, yes, it can be something special.
Okay, so big picture on this question that Jenny asked about feeling the pressure, runaway expectations. Help me out here. Has there ever been any player in the history of sports who's more capable of standing up to expectations than Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr.? There's never been anybody who's felt more expectations for a longer period of time than Tom Brady, the GOAT. Because think about it, Shannon. If you look at just the years he started for New England, and if you knock out the 1 year he got hurt in the opening game, 15 snaps into the game, so let's just cancel that year out, that would mean that he was the starter for 18 full seasons. One season he had the 4-game suspension to start, but still I'm going to give that a full season. So 18 seasons as starter. Yeah, he went to 9 Super Bowls in 18 years. That's impossibly all-time great. 9 times he went to the Super Bowl, and when they weren't going to the Super Bowl, everybody expected them to get to and win the Super Bowl. At least a majority of the experts did. So for 18 starting seasons, he's lived with runaway expectations. So do you think that he's choking under the load of that? No. I mean, he loves this. This is why he went to Tampa. He's going to help hype the expectation. He wants them to be more than runaway. He wants them to be off the rails expectations, because that will only lift everybody up to a new level of thinking where, gee, maybe we are the team to beat in the NFC South. Again, 7-9 last year. I got them going 12-4 next year. I forget what you had them at, maybe 9-7 or so, something like that.
10-6.
You got him 10-6? Wow, you must think.
I gave a bit of.
You must think he's really good at age 43.
No. Skip, remember before Fox Bet came out, and I think Fox Bet put it at 9.5. I was at, I said 10-6, maybe 11-5. I said, no, I'm going to stay at 10-6. I like 10-6. I think they can increase. I think Tom Brady is probably 3 games better than Jameis, considering that he will not throw half as many maybe interceptions or have half as many turnovers as Jameis had. I think Jameis had 35 total turnovers, 30 interceptions, 5 fumbles, so 35. So if Tom Brady turns the ball over half, that should equate to a few more wins. But Skip, the difference is between Tampa and New England. New England generally had realistic expectations of getting to and winning the Super Bowl because they had done that every year. They won the division, and more times than not, they were the number 1 or the number 2 seed. So they were always getting at least one game at home before having to get out on the road because it was going to be the divisional round at home, and then they're going to have to go to someone's building like they did Pittsburgh a couple of times, like they did to Kansas City 2 years ago. So the expectations for them, ever since they won that second Super Bowl, was like, hold on, we got a guy that's won 2 Super Bowls and he's 25, 26 years of age. What's to say this guy can't string together 5, 6, 7 more opportunities? And lo and behold, that's what he did. He strung together 7 more opportunities. So the expectations were realistic because every year they're 12-4, 13-3, 14-2. And you're like, this can't be real. So those fans, it's like, Skip, it was a terrible year when they went 12-4, 11-5.
I don't know. If memory serves, I could have sworn that last week when we first heard Fox Bet had the over-under at 9.5. Maybe I'm foggy on this one. I thought you were
the
at
Cowboys.
9. I thought you were just under.
That was the Cowboys.
That was the Cowboys. Maybe
that was
so.
the Cowboys.
Okay.
That was the Cowboys.
Okay. All right. Now, back to the defense. You said that the secondary is very suspect. I'm going to remind you, and trust me, Tom Brady did his homework on this. The Tampa Bay defense last year inherited the worst field position in the entire National Football League because Jameis turned it over 12 more times than any other quarterback in the entire league. So you've got 30 interceptions, 5 lost fumbles. You got 7 pick sixes. Those don't even count in inherited field position. But the defense was psychologically bludgeoned by the quarterback. It's hard to go through so many sudden changes where you're like, we got to go right back out there and fight again in this Tampa heat.
It is.
And if you take those away, again, 35 total turnovers. Brady last year had 9. So 35-9. Well, if Brady keeps it around 10-ish, 11, 12, they're going to throw it a whole lot. Well, that's still so many fewer turnovers that I think you're going to see Todd Bowles' defense really come to life. And they got studs all over that front 7. They were number 1 against the run. You could be right. That's possibly because people were throwing it a lot more than they're running it. But they were second in sacks, and Shaq Barrett was first in sacks. So you've got lots of firepower, and you've got one of the top defensive coordinators. He's not quite Belichick, but he's close in Todd Bowles, a much better coordinator than a head coach. So I think Brady is also banking on that defense to hold up its end of the bargain in ways Belichick's defense last year could not down the stretch for the Patriots.
Well, Skip, maybe if they can get out to a lead and force the team to just throw the ball and take away the ability to run the football. Skip, when Jameis was putting them in bad position, I mean, you just run the ball for 2 or 3 yards. Yeah, the yards per carry is bad, but you're just giving up a touchdown because Jameis has turned the ball over and put you on a short field. But, Skip, if Brady is what you believe he can be and what these fans can believe he can be, it will relieve some of the pressure off the defense. But you know, Skip, they want to push the ball down the field. And in order to push the ball down the field, you have to put your quarterback in harm's way. That's all I'm saying.
And all I'm saying is I believe Tom Brady is having the time of his life now in Tampa Bay. I think he's having more fun in Tampa than he ever had in any single year in New England.
Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.